Of course, tonight's theme is partnering with parents for student success. And we realize that it takes the commitment of parents, community members, and all stakeholders, including the students, teachers, and the staff at the campus level, to get the work done. It is a noble profession to be a teacher, and we are proud. I would like to start out by introducing the Superintendent of Gainesville ISD, Dr. Jeff Brazier, and he's going to open us up this evening.
Ms. Kunschik, I'd also like to echo what Ms. Kunschik said. We are just honored that you are here today and to take part and to listen and allow us to share with you something we're very, very passionate about, and that is Gainesville ISD and your children. I would like to also begin this evening by sharing with you a few did you know facts. When you look around this beautiful community, there are obviously some old parts of it as well, but that's what makes it so amazing and why Gainesville ISD has been so successful in the last 165 years. But also, there have been 24 superintendents with an average tenure of about 6.8 years. And you may like to guess who the longest tenured superintendents in Gainesville history are. Because some of them date back from a long time ago. And really, that number, that 6.8 years, is really skewed because of 4 or 5 superintendents in the service district for a very long period of time. But the longest tenured superintendent in Gainesville history is E.F. Conagis, and he was here for 19 years. So that was pretty amazing. It's very long for the life of a superintendent. You also had Wilbur O. Eccles, that was here for 18 years. M.O. McCain, that was here for 17 years. And Roy P. Wilson for 12 years. And so you just average those out to about itself, and it's a long time. But you also got Mike Rosenberg here for 7. And I had to put up there, I was excited that I made the top 10. And then Dan Glasgow was here for 6 years. So anyway, I think the takeaway from this particular slide is just knowing that Gainesville ISD has a rich history. I also think it's important that we share the GISD vision. You know, your vision is get everybody on the bus, and it's, where are you going? The GISD, I want us to focus on this, is an integral part of local community and global economy. And it is a very, very important part of this community. And parents, the district, the community, all of us working together is imperative for the success of our children, of our schools, and of our community. And I really feel that's what separates good and great communities, is when everybody comes together, works together, and moving in the same direction, you can accomplish some amazing things. Because we are very limited if we all work individually. And I know that in any organization, in any community, in any school, people are going to disagree. But at the end of the day, we come together, we make decisions that are best for our children, not a first-class education for all students. And when I talk about a first-class education, I want to emphasize that when kids graduate from Gainesville ISD, we want them to be able to compete with any other child, not only in the state of Texas, but also across this great country. And we feel that we're doing an outstanding job preparing our kids for the global economy. We got to embrace diversity. Some people see diversity as a liability, but we see it as an asset. That's what makes us great, is the different ideas and the different groups that come together and work together. And we have to expect excellence with integrity. You've got to expect excellence from us, the teachers, from your students. We have to expect excellence from y'all. If we all have that high expectations for one another, then we're going to fulfill our vision. Also want to share with y'all Gainesville ISD enrollment history since 2002. And it has kind of been up and down. But I think it's interesting how the all-time enrollment history of GISD was set in 2006 of about 3,050. It was after 2006 that you could see it took a swift turn. And about 7 years ago, we started on an upward trend. And actually this year, we broke the all-time enrollment history for GISD. And I think we peaked so far at about 3,085 students. And I really wanted to emphasize this slide because I really think it emphasizes and acknowledges all the great things that we are doing in GISD. And so many of those things Ms. Kunschik is going to share with y'all from the curriculum instruction perspective. So I think that's a great celebration. Again, it's because of the hard work of our teachers, our administrators, we have great students, our community, we have so many great things going on in our district. And so just real briefly, how are our schools doing? Well, academically, GISD has met standard. You can either meet standard or not meet standard within the state of Texas. And basically every year that I've been in the last 7 years, our district has met standard. And all campuses have met standard, and we actually received 6 academic distinctions from TEA. And when you receive a distinction, that means you've done some amazing things. So we're very proud of those distinctions that we earned. I have an APL system. We are going to a new accountability system, and Ms. Kunschik is going to touch on that tonight. And I did have put on, again, the high school has grown over 20% since 2011. There again, our enrollment, our financial stability in this district exudes itself. We are doing very, very well financially, and if you ever want to know anything about our district financially, you can go onto the GISD website. Within 2 clicks, you can pretty much get any information you want about the financial excellence of GISD. If there's something there that you want to know more about or have any other questions, feel free to call myself or call our business manager, Alice Greer, and we'll get that information to you. We're very proud of how we're doing academically. And if you look around the district and see all the great things we've done with our facilities, again, it's because we, I think, have been very, very good stewards of taxpayer dollars, and that has allowed us to build new buildings and renovate buildings and do some great things. Teacher turnover has been minimized this past year. I think we cut teacher turnover down about 20%, so we're very, very proud of the hard work of our campus administrators. Our elementary UL team was the UL champions this year. Our band was area qualifiers. And our Gainesville High School has had multiple regional and state qualifiers. So many of our kids have been very, very successful. Our district has been very successful. But anyway, just kind of give you some few highlights of some of the comments that we've had this past year. And these new initiatives, I'm not going to talk about much further because Ms. Kunschik is going to touch on those too. But again, we're so excited about this year because of the many, many positive additions that we've had to our district. And I think, again, that's why we have so many kids coming into our district, moving from other districts into the GISD. We're super proud of the CTE programs that we launched at the high school, including our Certified Nurses 8 program. The principles of law enforcement, we are going to continue to grow those in the future. Project Lead the Way, Ms. Kunschik will talk more about that in detail. The language program, capturing kids' hearts, and so many more. So, with that introduction, I do want to now turn it over to our Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum Instruction, Ms. Veronica Kunschik.
So it's a pleasure once again to be standing here with you to go through some of the initiatives that we have prepared for your students. The other day I was in a classroom, and as a teacher projected a slide and finished, a student yelled, "Can we see that again?" And then another student yelled, "Are we going to do that?" And so I wanted to start out with sharing to you that story because that's really what it's all about, is preparing lessons and learning for students on a daily basis that would warrant their desire to be at school. Parents, raise your hand if you're a parent, please. Doesn't it feel good when you get up and your child is excited to go to school? It feels good, right? And so if you're a teacher, raise your hand. If you're a teacher in the district, look at our teachers that are here tonight. Thank you for being here tonight. They're probably wearing 2 hats, but even if not, they would still be here, so I thank you. The teachers being that excited. Miss Neal, I'm going to use her as an example. Just the other day at her campus, she comes over to me and says, "Come to my room, I want to show you something that I'm doing." So we're excited to see our teachers excited. And then our other staff members in the room, could you raise your hand if you have a capacity also in GISD? Raise your hand. So all of these other individuals that are here to service the needs of our students. And then our campus principals, we have several principals. Principals, could you please raise your hand? Look at our principals are here tonight. So we thank them for being here and celebrating. I'm going to go through a few slides. I want to give you all the information you need. I know my intent is not to give you too much. But I also want you to be well-informed parents and know what questions you might ask so that we can become better and partner with you. I'm anxious to build, or excited to build this relationship with you so that we're getting your feedback. So go on and let's take this journey together. This is what it comes down to every day your child comes to school. And so we are preparing your students to be competitive in a global market. And so every day we're challenged to develop great lessons. And so what we're preparing is we take our curriculum, we teach it, and we have to guarantee that it's a viable curriculum, so we have to make sure that it's aligned with what the state says is preparing our students for lifelong learning and post-secondary education. So this is a triangle that we look at daily. Teachers go and visit what we call professional learning communities, and they prepare these deep and profound lessons so that your student is engaged. So we basically look at the curriculum and ensure that it is taught in a manner that prepares our students to be tested and be successful. So this slide here, I like this slide because really it speaks to teachers about the way they teach. Every single day they prepare their students and they say, students, today we will. And they finish the statement. And then they say, if you're prepared, then I will, meaning the student, be able to do this. I wanted to share this slide with you though, my friends, because if you see that this chain links together, you'll notice the stress that I want to make is by telling you thank you for sending your child to our schools every single day and ensuring that they don't miss a day of education. If they miss, then one link falls out of their learning, and every we will is linked to the other we will. So it keeps our students on track when they're at school. So I wanted to take this opportunity to share this with you and remind us and thank you. I'm aware that you're aware that every day counts in the learning of our students. As we move forward, we're preparing our students, those of them that are tested, in third and on up for STAR. We have to prepare our students for that. I wish that we could say that we don't have to, but the state sets the standard. So what we do at the district level is we prepare the students to be tested in August and September, October, December, January, March, and then April and May. They take these assessments that are aligned to the same types of questions that they will take on STAR. So right now, parents, you could be asking your teachers at a parent conference, how is my child doing right now in these assessments? Does it show that they're on track and ready to be administered these assessments for STAR? For those areas that are not tested, you have students that are taking what we call DRA assessments, and they're taking other reading assessments that tells us, is she reading at a level that she needs to be reading right now? Are our little ones reading where they need to read? And so that's a question, parent, if you have little ones in school that you could ask your teachers. The number one way, parents, that you can help us at night is just simply reading with your child. Research shows the more you read, the more they're entertained, the more they understand, and it transfers into their success in school. So I thank you once again. I know you're reading with your child at home. This is the calendar of events that happen for testing. We have 120 more days of instruction remaining before the STAR assessment. I want you to look at that number 120 and envision links. It's like those links of learning that prepares them for that day. So this is what it looks like. Do you recall I said when you walk into their room, you should see, if you ever visit a teacher classroom, they pretty up those walls. We call them walls that talk. We wanted to interject what the students are doing. The students know they can go in. If you ask your child at night, hey, what was your we will statement today, your objective? They can give you information like this. We will draw, dictate, and write connections and thoughts about a text read aloud. And when they learn it, then they will be able to show their learning at the end of the class to show if they understood on that day. Okay, this is every single day, student. So this is what it transfers to. Every day is a we will and an I will statement. Those are in boxes, but once again, I want you to envision those links. It's links of learning every single day that your student has to master. So I share this slide with you because as we plan as teachers and come together to prepare these lessons, this is what it looks like into the classroom. It's about reaching the learning styles. It's about recognizing where a student is, grabbing them by the hand and bringing them with you and teaching them. And so you see, sometimes we use technology, sometimes we use pair share, sometimes we have think sessions. But we do a variety of different things. In our profession, it's called, the big word, differentiation. to ensure that all learners are learning in the classroom. So I wanted to take you through this journey. I have some beautiful slides that tells you what commitment we have made in the district to better prepare our teachers and our students. This is a training session on guided reading. So our teachers are very familiar about how to assess the students and understand where they're reading and then be able to bridge the gap. If a student should be reading, for example, on a level 14, and the child is reading on a level 11, then the teacher clearly knows what to do about it. And they have guided group sessions where they pair the students up and they're constantly bridging gaps to try to get them to the level they need to be. We're also very committed to community and student engagement. So this is key. I want to introduce Esau Pedrosa. Oh, sir. He just joined, I butchered your last name, say it for me. Pedrosa? Pedrosa. And he now is working here in the front office, in the front area here, and he's here to service our needs. How many of you knew him at the high school? Anyone? Yes? Well, he's now here at the district level. But I share that with you because he's helping me in preparing a session like this where we have a parent component, and we have this ability to visit with you and get feedback. So we are very committed to this initiative. Thank you, Dr. Brazier. And Dr. Brazier, I see, also goes out into the community and presents to many different areas at lunch sessions and evening sessions, just to let the community know what we're doing. Project Lead the Way is something very exciting right now. It's about taking the different STEM components and embracing the learning for students in the areas of math, science, technology, and engineering. And so what we're doing is we're building what's called vertical alignment in each grade level. And I am proud to say this to you, parents. I know there are districts that launch STEAM and they only select 20 and 30 kids here and there. But we are so committed to this initiative in helping students to make decisions about their career track that we're trying to grab as many as we can at all levels so that they too can enjoy this learning. It's very hands-on. Do you see this? Teachers were learning how to build a cast on their arm. So students are enjoying this kind of learning in the classroom. Isn't that exciting? I think it's very exciting. Over here they were building a robot. And so all of this transfers into the high school where then they have to establish what's called pathways. They have to know what route they're going to go into. So the more we let students delve into different careers at a younger age, it helps them to formulate their thinking about, what do I want to be when I grow up? So hopefully you're having some similar conversations with your child at home that would help them to formulate their desire for the future. Project-based learning is really richening instruction. It's not just about learning the strands or the learning that occurs for TEA to test us. This is about giving students project experiences. Let's build this. Let's learn this, but at the same time, let's build this house, for example. And so project-based learning is new learning for the district, and we're launching this also through STEAM. So your students should be experiencing some of this in the classroom. Capturing kids' hearts. This is the umbrella of relationship building in the district. There's an understanding for us as a district. When we went through this training, we were trained with flip-flipping there to the far right. And this is a component that we're really excited about. What it resonates in the classroom looks like this: social contracts. Can you believe that our students have built social contracts in the classroom about the way they want to be treated? Look here, they made this. They said, we want to be kind, we want to be nice, we want to be thoughtful to one another, responsible. So the notion is, let's say that someone has a bad day, the teacher can redirect using the social contract and not have to have it directly impact negatively towards one child, but say, hey, remember, how do we just define what responsible looks like in our classroom? Your students have built this. We also offer goal setting for our students. We want them to have ownership in their learning. So the students are goal setting. Principals have set time where their teachers are actually sitting with them and saying, this is how you performed. This is what you need to do to continue to grow, but this is woven into their daily instruction on a semester basis. We also are looking at some inclusion models where no longer are we pulling kids out, but we're pushing into the classroom and keeping kids inside of the classroom where they're learning in Tier 1, but we're pushing in to help strengthen in different areas. Inclusion can be used for bilingual, it can be used for ESL, it can be used for SPED, it can be used for discipline, it can be used for many models, but this is about helping sustain Tier 1. Tier 1 means the instruction in the classroom. So it's helping it to build that structure in the classroom. And of course we have the one-way and the two-way dual language model that we're adopting. We've adopted the one-way, the two-way has been here. Pardon me, I flipped it. Correct. So what we're doing now is, does anyone here have their child in the two-way currently? You have a two-way? And how many other parents have a one-way child in a one-way? Okay, well, this is super exciting. What we're doing here is this is our commitment to building. Remember I said preparing our students to be competitive in a global market? Well, this is one area that can strengthen them. We have students that are English-speaking homes that are involved in learning a dual language at Edison, and that will also grow into our elementary campuses. My friends, I'm really excited to tell you that the end result, what we're trying to build, is what's called a seal of biliteracy, where students don't have to graduate just saying, I learned a language. No, they're going to get a certificate, and they will be able to use that to market themselves into a university or whatever profession they're going into to say, my learning occurred in 2 languages throughout my tenure, not just when you were little, but throughout high school. It's super exciting, the opportunity that we've built for our students here. So Dr. Brazier said to you that I would touch on state accountability, and that's exactly what I'm going to do, is just briefly touch on it. There's so many changes occurring right now, but there's enough for me to tell you that we're doing great things in Gainesville ISD. Do you see the lines? Look at Index 1, Index 2 at the bottom, Index 3 and Index 4. Every year when the state comes in to tell us if we're doing a good job, they were looking at these 4 indices. So you see where the bar is, the green one? That was the standard by the state, and we surpassed it. Do you see? We were well above the 65, well above the 35 in both Index 1 and 2 and in Index 4. So Index 1 was telling us all students all test, how are we doing? We did very well. In Index 2 it said student progress. That means if you come to me performing on a 2nd grade level, was I able to get you to a 3rd grade level, 1-year growth? We surpassed in that area. Closing the performance gap was basically saying if we have a subgroup of students that are not performing where they need to the previous year, did we get them there this year? And we surpassed that expectation. And the last one is for post-secondary readiness. And that kind of looks differently at the high school versus elementary schools, but really it speaks for itself. Are we preparing our students to go on and be successful in college, not just get there, but when you get there, can they be successful? And we surpassed that index. Dr. Brazier also shared with you our distinctions. This is a great honor. We had 6 distinctions in our district. And you know, you might see that number 6 in 2015, but I can assure you that the state assessment has become 2 to 3 times more rigorous than what we experienced in 2015. So I'm super excited to share with you that despite the fact that the state has raised the level of expectation for all districts, we were still very successful in receiving our distinctions. That's something to really brag about. So what I want to share with you is when the community asks you how we're doing, what you say is we met standard and we had 6 distinctions. That's a great honor for our district. And your students and you parents are helping us to achieve that. So now, as I said, rigor continues. And so now the shift that we're taking is that the state has now said we're moving away from those 4 indices and we're moving into what's called the A through F accountability system. So we're becoming very well versed on what that means. And so there are 3 different areas now that they're looking at, okay? And so what it is it's the best of achievement or progress in student achievement or school progress for this upcoming year. So it's looking at students, where they are, and if we've grown them. So if I have a high student, did I grow him? If I have a medium student, did I grow her? If I have a lower student, did I grow him? Okay? So it's about growing all students. We have to show evidence, and we have been able to do that in the past. So we're going to continue to strive for that. And then, of course, the minimum 30% up there is of closing the gap of learning for those students that have not been achieving at the level that they needed to achieve. This slide was one of the very last slides that I was able to get together for you. I thanked you earlier about attendance and helping us to bring your child to school every day. There are many reasons, and I didn't start out with this slide because it's really not just about the financial part, it's about your child being ready and linking to learning every day. But I also wanted you to be well informed when you talk to your friends about what's going on with attendance in school. If you see here, there's a dollar figure that goes alongside every single child. And so every time they attend school, there's what we call an ADA. An amount of money that's given to that day's attendance for that child. And why does this matter? Because it is about this money going directly back into the schools to service the needs of our students. And when our students are not there, it then has a negative impact, right? So you'll see here that we set goals for ourselves. We talk to our principals about having incentives and encouraging their students and their parents to always bring their child to school. So far to date, we have lost $225,517. Do you see that? And that's from absences in school. And so the lost instructional time is that of 10.71 hours. So when we think of that, it's the linking the learning, once again, that I showed you, the days that are missed and what our students have to bridge when they're not present. So what a slide to end with, right? I wanted to end with this slide because really school is about having fun and making it an environment that is inviting to our students and our parents. And what better way to show you someone that walks the buildings with me every single day. We have our weekly walkthroughs every building. Dr. Brazier walks with me and we take a look at what's happened instructionally. But I wanted to share this slide to show you we know how to have fun in school, and we want to thank you, parents, for being here tonight, and also that you bring your child to school every day.